Oh boy, is it good to be back. Welcome into Game On Wisconsin. This is the beginning of season number 2. How you doing, everybody? I'm Alex Strouf. You can find me on Twitter at Alex_Strouf. Honored to be here tonight. Excited to be here tonight and excited to see all that Game On Wisconsin has in store for season number 2. The mastermind behind a lot of this, man, the founder, the creator of Game On Wisconsin, the usually decent Jacob Westendorf. You can connect with him on Twitter at Jacob Westendorf. Jake, it's good to be back, man. Been a while. How you been?
It has been a while. I think the last time I had you and I together was Tony Pauline right before the NFL draft this year. So that was fun.
Wow.
I just want to say it's an honor that you were able to take some time away from the 4-letter network and able to join us small people here.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that, but good to be here nonetheless. They let me come home before 7 p.m. tonight, so that's always a positive. But
good for them. That's awesome.
I mean, I don't start until noon, so I guess I can't complain too much.
You're a dick.
Yeah, exactly. But good to see you, Jacob. Good to see everybody popping in across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, connecting with us on all socials at Game On WI. Our boy Kyle Hoffenbecker on the ones and twos tonight. So happy to be reconnected with the great producer Kyle, but lots in store for you tonight. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers saga ongoing. That rift between the Packers and Rodgers continues to go on, and we'll dive into that here in just a second. We've got a Game On Wisconsin get together we will promote here later in the hour, Sunday, September 19th. Mark your calendars. And like I said, more info on that here coming later in the show. Jordan Love obviously been the top of a bunch of headlines, so we'll get into the Jordan Love expectations if it is life after Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers. And, of course, to close out the show, the big announcement, the Game On Wisconsin lineup for the 2021 NFL season. But, of course, the biggest headline in the state of Wisconsin right now, the Milwaukee Bucks, one win away from being crowned NBA champions, which is exciting, which is awesome for everybody in Wisconsin. I know Jacob and some of our following outside of the state of Wisconsin, but to see the basketball team doing this well, kind of unexpected in a sense, right, Jacob?
Yeah, absolutely. I was able to meet up with some guys that I know on what the hell day was that? Saturday. It's been such a whirlwind since then. And go to Game 5 of the NBA Finals inside the Pfizer Forum, and I tell you, the atmosphere was incredible. I think Bucks fans have a really good understanding of how rare an opportunity like this is, and that, this may only happen once. I know in the NBA dynasties are very common, but it's just something I think that's being savored as the moment goes by. And I had a little bit of a thread go out, earlier today, just talking about, I don't see how you can root against this Bucks team. And I'm not a Bucks fan. I'll be the first one to admit that. So I just don't see how you can root against this team. I'm happy to see the loyalty of Giannis Antetokounmpo being potentially rewarded. I'm not the biggest fan of Chris Paul. I never have been. So I don't think that it was too hard for me to jump on the Bucks wagon here and root for them to win this thing. But I'm excited to see it. I was hoping to maybe snag some tickets to tomorrow night's game, but I realized that was going to cost me an arm and both of my legs.
Yeah, we're exactly.
To get in there. So
it's tough.
It's insane. So that is what it is. I'm a little too old to go to the Deer District. I think, Alex, you said it best the other night that I would be the oldest person at the Deer District. But he did say after that I'm not even old. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
65,000. I mean, it's crazy just to think. It was only 8 years ago. 8 years ago, 2013, Giannis was a nobody. Chris Middleton wasn't anything to write home about. They won 15 games now, and there might have been 15,000 people to watch the Bucks that entire season. Now, they're going to have 65,000 people outside of the stadium, 18,000 people inside the stadium to watch them potentially win an NBA championship.
100%. So let's talk about both the Bucks and the Packers. Let's wrap this together, bringing you behind the curtain, trying to talk about everything at once. One of those 15,000 that you referenced back in 2013 was the current quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, a part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'll tell you what, I don't think he's a very good owner. While he tweets, one win away, hashtag, the vagueness that Aaron Rodgers always gives, he hasn't shown up, which all of his teammates have practically, right? You had Aaron Jones, Darius Smith, David Bakhtiari, Carl Bakhtiari, that's David's father, by the way, showing up to Bucs games courtside, supporting. They're not owners. Aaron Rodgers is an owner. He hasn't shown up yet. He's a bad owner. I don't think he deserves a ring.
Well, I will say this. If he gets a ring, it would be, I guess he's being carried to one in that case, which is something he hasn't been able to do since, 10 years from now, or 10 years ago. I don't know. I've seen both sides of that argument. I do think he should be there. There's obviously a lot that could be gained from the crowd and that emotional bump from Aaron Rodgers being there. At the same time, I'm with some of the Bucs fans. I think I would rather that the focus be on Giannis and Middleton and Drew Holiday, whereas all of a sudden, if Rodgers is there, then the story becomes, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, instead of, hey, by the way, the Bucs just won a championship, the first one in 50 years. So as far as him getting a ring, I mean, if he does win one, it's the last one he'll ever get in the state of Wisconsin. So maybe they should give him one out of pity.
No, you're totally right. I mean, yeah, it may or may not. My mic stand's just falling apart, so that's always good. But it may be the last.
Aaron Rodgers' relationship with the Packers. We have a metaphor, guys.
there's some low hanging fruit from Mr. Westendorf. But look, I mean, this is bigger than the Bucs. This is bigger than Aaron Rodgers. Rather, this is about the Bucs. And if he shows up as an owner, I hope it's just in support of the Bucs, and it has nothing to do with his relationship with the Green Bay Packers. But speaking of his relationship with the Green Bay Packers, Mason Crosby, the kicker, his longest tenured teammate, joined Wilde and Tausch across ESPN Wisconsin this morning. And there's a little snippet I want to play for you just because I have a thought. Let's get to Mason Crosby on Wilde and Tausch.
Every time I talk to him, text him, whatever, I leave it with, see ya in July. It's like you just kind of keep feeding that thing. So
positive,
just positive. Yeah. It's like, just see you in July. And like, as long as he doesn't say like, no, I'm not coming. There's always, it's hopeful that he'll be there.
Again, Mason Crosby on Wilde and Tausch across ESPN Wisconsin radio this morning. And, something that stuck out to me there, Jacob, was Mason Crosby said, every time I text him, as long as he doesn't say no, but there's no response coming, which is inferred, right? There was no response coming from Aaron Rodgers to his longest tenured teammate. It continues to be concerning for me. Every vague statement that Aaron Rodgers is making publicly, the awful, I'd go awful comments that Mark Murphy is making, which obviously is not helping any situation with their reigning MVP quarterback. Just off that statement from Mason Crosby, I still remain with the same feeling that Aaron Rodgers will not be in Green Bay 8 days from today when training camp begins.
I think he will be, because I think he knows at the end of the day here, take the passive aggressiveness, all this stuff. That's just him. He's always been that way. This isn't any different. He hasn't done anything that he hasn't done in years past. Well, in terms of being passive aggressive, I should say. That being said, in terms of bringing him to Green Bay, I think he understands that ultimately, if he's going to play football, it's going to be in Green Bay. Him holding out of training camp probably isn't changing that. The slim chance that it could, I think Rodgers is a smart guy. He knows the deal. He knows what's going on here. What that means for 2022 and beyond, who knows? I don't really know what Aaron Rodgers wants, and nobody does. I think suggesting that you do is foolish, because nobody does. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't even requested a trade. The original Adam Schefter story says hasn't requested a trade. Ian Rappaport has said several times hasn't requested a trade, et cetera, et cetera. I will say Ian Rappaport said on the McAfee show today or recently that he gets a feeling that Aaron Rodgers is going to play, and he's going to play in Green Bay this season. Mm-hmm. What that means beyond 2021, I don't know. I don't care. I would think, I hope, I pray, whatever you want to say, that the Packers and the quarterback have this figured out to where what I don't want is a year from now, we're doing this same shit where, is he going to show up, or is he mad about this? Is he upset about that? Whatever. I'm beside that point. When it comes to next week, he knows if they're going to win a Super Bowl, they have to be locked in from day one. And day one is a week from tomorrow. And getting them locked in right away that way, you can't do that if you don't know who your starting quarterback is. And I think you can look to the somewhat recent past with his predecessor. The Packers didn't know if Favre was going to be the starting quarterback or Aaron Rodgers before they traded Brett Favre. And then Favre's last season in Minnesota was that way. He played the Willie Woney game all the way into September, and the Vikings sucked. Now, Did that have to do solely with Brett Favre just not deciding whether or not he was coming? No, but do I think that played a factor? Absolutely, I think it did.
Sure.
When you're the head coach, this is going to be Matt LaFleur's finest or worst possible hour, one of those two things. Because having to navigate this storm with Aaron Rodgers trying to sell the team, I think selling them on bringing him back is not that big of a deal. But if he doesn't show up, trying to sell them on, well, control what you could control, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this isn't like a team's wide receiver or a defensive back on a training camp holdup. This is your starting quarterback. This is the most important person in the entire organization. So I say all that at the end of the day. I think Rodgers reports. I think he knows the deal. And I think he's maintained plausible deniability for a reason. I think that there's a reason his people, if you will, James Jones, John Kuhn, some of those guys have put out the whole, well, it's fixable. Whereas people like Adam Schefter and Mike Silver and some other guys have said, maybe it's not. I think there's a reason for that. Rodgers wants to be able to play both sides of that coin.
Yeah, there is a reason for that, but it's not because Rodgers wants to play both sides of the coin, Jacob. It's because those guys don't have anything to lose because they're not reporting, right? It's a feeling for John Kuhn and James Jones and all the former teammates that make these media appearances and say, yeah, we don't think Rodgers, or we do think Rodgers will be back. This is fixable. This is that. Adam Schefter's putting everything on the line, and he's continued to do that month after month after month. There's no way he spills the beans on draft day if that's not a legitimate rift between the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. It's obviously legitimate.
Yeah,
nobody's denying that.
Let's start there because that was leaked that day for a specific reason. And it's because the guy who is so calculated with everything he says, does, thinks, tweets, talks about, told him to do it. There is no doubt in my mind that that was Aaron Rodgers and his camp saying, okay, leak this now. And I think that some of the walkback was because I think Rodgers overplayed his hand, miscalculated a little bit what the public perception and the Packer fan perception was going to be. I think he thought everybody was going to feel sorry for him and say, yep, we agree with you. They haven't done enough to help you. And that has not been the overwhelming response from the media or the Packers fan base.
Totally. What we're asking you watching across Game On Wisconsin platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, let us know, are you team Rodgers or are you team Packers? Where do you stand in this Aaron Rodgers versus Green Bay Packers saga? Do you side with Aaron Rodgers? Do you side with the Packers? Of course, there's some gray area. You could side with both of them. But at the end of the day, there really is only two sides to this coin. Now, that said, Jacob, when you view this Aaron Rodgers saga, at least the way I view it, right, is you mentioned the calculate nature. Is the calculate a word? I might have just made that up, but the calculated nature of Aaron Rodgers and everything that's going on with this rift. Of course, it's been intentional. Everything he said, everything he hasn't said. He's had many opportunities to come out and say, I think this is overblown. The media is overplaying this. We're overplaying this, on and on and on. He hasn't done that. All he said is, it's about the people. I love the coaches. I love the fans. I love my teammates. Obviously, he leaves out Mark Murphy, Brian Gutekunst. All these opportunities he's had at the match with Kenny Mayne, as I mentioned. He hasn't said he hasn't taken the deniability side that you're referring to. So it's certainly complicated. It always is. Mark Murphy, while he shouldn't have said it, wasn't wrong when he called Aaron Rodgers a complicated fella. He wasn't wrong in the sentiment. However, I think, the phrase referring to a dead guy that said it, all of that was bananas. It was just beyond me. But he wasn't wrong. This whole situation has been incredibly complicated and really hard to read through.
Yeah, and I think my thought on it has been it stems from hurt feelings. I don't really know what to sorry that Rodgers is talking about, and basically it's been theorized, at least, that he's taking an attack on the Packer way of replacing guys 1 year early instead of 1 year late. That's the only reason he has a job in Green Bay, or maybe not the only reason, but the biggest reason he has a job in Green Bay was the Packer way. If there's anybody that knows about this organization planning for the future and being right, by the way, about it, it's Aaron Rodgers, because he's better than Brett Favre ever was. It's not even close on that side of things. I don't understand. I think it would have been, you mentioned that he hasn't brought up the deniability. He's also had chances to say on Kenny Mayne during the match on whatever show, yes, trade me now because I'm not coming back. And if he does that, the Packers' hands are completely tied. Whereas if he does this, He doesn't have the leverage, and he never has. I said this when it came out. This isn't the NBA. And as much as some people want to make it like it's the NBA, where a star, James Harden, makes a mess in Houston, says, trade me to Brooklyn. Where does he end up? Brooklyn. Well, the NFL this offseason, there have been
doesn't work that way.
No, and there have been several quarterbacks that have demanded a trade. And there are people that are like, oh, maybe this is becoming more NBA like, and it hasn't. The only one that got traded was Carson Wentz. And why? Because the Eagles think Carson Wentz stinks now and is okay with trading him to someone else. Deshaun Watson, still a Texan. That's a little more complicated. We'll leave that be. Russell Wilson, still a Seattle Seahawk, and Aaron Rodgers is still a Green Bay Packer, and he's going to be a Green Bay Packer in 2021.
No, the point about leverage is very important, right? I mean, all the cards are in the Packers' hands, and because he signed 3 more years to the deal. But obviously he's unhappy. The feelings are hurt. And there is multiple reasons. I mean, there's a magnitude of reasons why Aaron Rodgers is unhappy with this current situation, but it's very hard for him to get out of it. And we'll leave it at that for now. Jacob, Sunday, September 19th. The calendar is marked. The Game On Wisconsin people are going to be invading the Green Bay Distillery just down the road from Lambeau Field. Let's kick it over to the boys from Lombardi's Bar to tell us about the Game On Wisconsin party at Green Bay Distillery.
What's up, everybody? It is your boys from Lombardi's Bar, Dan the bartender, Todd, Jimmy. We are here to let you know that we have the first ever Game On Wisconsin party coming to you live at the Green Bay Distillery, September 19th. Put it on your calendars now.
September 19th? Is this my birthday party, guys? No, absolutely not.
Farthest thing from your birthday party. We're not celebrating Todd's birthday. We are hanging out at the Green Bay Distillery, drinking some alcohol, eating some food, and watching NFL football. Be there.
Be there. Sunday, September 19th, the Game On Wisconsin party at the Green Bay Distillery. Going to be a lot of fun. Live shows, all your favorite Game On Wisconsin personalities invading the Green Bay Distillery in Ashwaubenon. Jacob, is it in Green Bay or is it in Ashwaubenon? That's technically Ashwaubenon, isn't it?
I believe it's actually in Green Bay. It's 8:35. No, it's Ashwaubenon.
Producer Kyle tells us Ashwaubenon.
Yeah. Okay. It's Ashwaubenon, 8:35, Mike McCarthy Way. It's right by the stadium. You can see it in the backyard. It's awesome. Matt Ramage is going to be there, as he just told us in the chat. We have some really cool stuff that you guys have an opportunity to win. I'm looking at some of it right now. Maybe something that looks like you might want that has, I don't know, Zadarius Smith or Robert Tonyan or some guys like that might be on it. So that could be interesting and fun. You have an opportunity to win stuff like that. Come out, have some drinks, watch some football. That's opening Sunday, or the second week Sunday in the NFL that year, or this year. So I look forward to that. And shout out to the Green Bay Distillery, honestly, for giving us that opportunity and letting us just kind of hang out with those guys for the day. And if we come out, we show out, I think there will be an opportunity to do a lot more things on that. And then obviously the home openers the next day, the Green Bay Packers, and we'll be taking on friend of the program here, the Detroit Lions, led by the greatest running back that's ever played for the Packers in Jamal Williams. So we'd be looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I'm incredibly excited to run that. That is going to be, I can tell you right now, a very long weekend. So that Saturday is my daughter's 2nd birthday. Sunday, obviously, is the party. And then Monday, of course, the home opener. So should be a lot of fun, and definitely hope to see you guys there.
I'll be there. Jacob will be there. Producer Kyle will be there. Matt Ramage will be there. Definitely an event you'll want to show up to, hang out with all of us, grab some drinks, grab some food, and enjoy the good old camaraderie. We were talking a little bit of Aaron Rodgers versus Packers saga before the quick break. A lot of you team Rodgers, a lot of you team Packers. It seems pretty split, and rightfully so. It's a complicated situation that's been going on, 3.5 months now, just about. So it's been going on for quite some time. We still don't have an answer. This isn't black and white. This is a very gray area and a very gray situation, but we will have some answers come 8 days from now. Jacob, you remain. You think Rodgers will be there next Tuesday?
I do. I think he'll be there to start camp. I think he knows. I think he wants to win, and I think that he knows that he wants to win a championship, even if it is something to where I don't know how much credence I put into this, but the thing that Schefter brought up that was interesting to me was that whole thing about some stipulation to where he'll come back, but he knows the Packers are going to trade him after the season's over, kind of thing. Like, we all know this is it. I don't know. I don't know how you do that, because obviously if they do that, then the Packers are going to trade him for a 3rd round pick, because I'm joking a little bit there, but they lose all leverage in a trade negotiation that way. But yeah, I do. I think he shows. I think he, even still, no matter how mad you are at everybody, I think Wilde made a really good point about this too. Colleague and actually understudy, I believe, to Alex Strouf, I think is how that works. But no, Wilde said something along the lines of like, that, okay, you're pissed off at Gutekunst and Mark Murphy and Russ Ball, and that's all well and good, but you're not really letting them down, or you're not really sticking it to them by not showing up. You're hurting guys like Devontae Adams and David Bakhtiari and Mercedes Lewis and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's where Rodgers ultimately be like, okay, these guys are here, Aaron Jones, guys that stuck around maybe because they thought Aaron Rodgers was going to be in Green Bay for or at least next year. And the Packers' entire offseason was built around Aaron Rodgers being their quarterback. This is a win now. Yeah. Push your chips to the center. You guys have read the capologists in the cap space. It ain't great. So this is the all in that everybody wanted them to do. They just kind of did it in a way that the Packers would normally do it. And their hands were a little tied because the quarterback wasn't willing to kind of help them with their cap space.
No, you're totally right on that. But I want to point out the one thing we do know about Aaron Rodgers is he's always out to prove a point, right? When they drafted Aaron Rodgers, or Jordan Love rather, a year ago, he was out to prove that he was still the man in Green Bay. And what did he go out and do? He won the freaking MVP award for the 3rd time in his career as the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is always out to prove a point. So that's why I don't think he'll be there next Tuesday. However, I do think he will play quarterback for the Green Bay Packers in 2021. I think he will be the starting quarterback all 17 games. I just don't think he'll be there at the beginning of camp, because we're eventually going to have some sort of conclusion, and I would say meet in the middle type of deal, right? We're going to have a compromise of some sort between the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And I think that will be this is the last dance scenario, like you referenced, right? This will be the last year we see Aaron Rodgers under center. I still believe that maybe not Matt LaFleur, but definitely Brian Gutekunst and company expect Jordan Love to be the successor to Aaron Rodgers. They expect Aaron Rodgers to be out of Green Bay after 2021 and Jordan Love be the man under center. This is the one last dance, similar to, the Michael Jordan documentary that we're going to see with Aaron Rodgers. One last shot at the title. And I don't know if Rodgers realizes this, because he is stubborn. He's a complicated guy, but this is going to be the best shot he has at a title for the rest of his career, given age, given weapons, given obviously the sustainability of that offensive line and that whole offense that they've had throughout the last year. So I think this will be Aaron Rodgers' last dance in Green Bay. I do think he'll be the quarterback. I just don't think he'll be there on Tuesday.
Yeah, that part is interesting to me, because I could see it. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers wants. It could be, I understand you can't let me go now. You weren't going to let me go now. So let's figure out a way to make this work for 1 year and then do this whole thing next year until you guys trade me, and let's make that happen. It could be because he has talked before about how important it is to play for one team. Part of the reason Kobe Bryant gets so overrated in basketball conversations is because he played his entire career with the Lakers, and we give extra credit to players that don't bounce from team to team to team. So I understand that to some degree. Maybe that's what Rodgers wants. I don't know. He hasn't said anything. So it's hard to say what I think will happen beyond 2021. What I do know is if this is the situation again, it's not good for anyone involved. So I think Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst know that. I think Matt LaFleur knows that. And I think obviously Aaron Rodgers knows that as well. One other thing that I will say on this is, if the Packers made a decision, and I've talked about this a bunch, and I understand 1st-round picks play and all that good stuff. If the Packers made a decision on their quarterback in 2022 on draft night of 2020, that is piss poor process. And I don't care if that is the Packers. That's ridiculous, because what happens if let's say that Aaron isn't pissed about all this stuff and this isn't going on. Rodgers wins 2 MVPs. They win a Super Bowl and get to a conference championship game the previous year. You mean to tell me you're going to trade him just because that was the plan? I really struggle with that decision being made that very night. I think the line I've quoted from 21, the movie, several times, always account for variable change. The Packers thought he was declining. Clearly he's not. That might change the way that they're thinking. They offered him, this is real, this is reported, Schefter, Rappaport, all of them. They offered him an extension to make him the highest paid quarterback. So I don't think that is the case. I think what they've done is they've offered him that extension. That means they're willing to see Rodgers through and Jordan Love not ever playing a snap. So it's fascinating. It's, as somebody once said, I think, a beautiful mystery as to what will happen with this Rodgers saga. But yeah, the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, said that, in case you guys forgot. But I'm looking forward to the conclusion. I made a comment that was kind of misconstrued a little bit. I said, come, show up or don't. I don't really care at this point. I don't mean that of like, I don't care if Aaron Rodgers never plays for the Packers. Of course, I understand the Packers' best chance to win a Super Bowl in 2021 is if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. I'm just tired of this whole thing because this could be very easily solved or at least discussed, and it hasn't been. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Mark Murphy won't shut his mouth. Gutekunst made some missteps. He even admitted to those. Alex, you did the poster out on draft night, and he kind of talked about how he dropped the ball a little bit as far as communicating the previous year when he took Jordan Love. So that's all fair. That's all well and good. I'm just ready for it to reach its conclusion. And I don't know. I feel like maybe it's because Favre Watch was 15 years ago or something like that, but this just feels like more exhausting than Favre Watch.
I agree. I think it is more exhausting from what I remember from Favre Watch, right? I mean, that was certainly a whole nother situation. I mean, I think it's apples to oranges with those two situations, but in terms of obviously the drama and keeping our eyes peeled and keeping everybody's attention similar in that aspect, at least a little bit. But life after Rodgers, whatever that looks like, whatever that may be, Jordan Love, obviously the center of a lot of attention, being a first-round draft pick, obviously not having the preseason games. You talked about, if Rodgers was not to be traded, if they expected a decline, I mean, it would be very easy to just say Jordan Love, Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Similar to how Garoppolo's situation was in New England when Tom Brady was still there. They traded him to San Francisco because they wanted to stick with Tom Brady. I don't think that's how this situation plays out, just given what we've seen over the course of the last 3 months. But life after Rodgers certainly looks right now like it will be Jordan Love. We don't know when that will be, but we know it will likely be Jordan Love replacing Aaron Rodgers. What have you seen? What have you heard? What are you thinking on all things Jordan Love? Because last year was a lot of negatives, but we didn't see him in live action. He never actually put on a jersey for a game day. This year, he will have the opportunity to do that. He will be at least the backup quarterback, if not the starter, depending on how the Rodgers situation plays out. He will have 3 preseason games to get reps under his belt, and I imagine he will take a hefty majority of the snaps if Rodgers is there in those 3 preseason games. Where are you at on the Jordan Love situation as a whole?
It's interesting. First of all, when it comes to the preseason, I've said this, whether Rodgers is there or not, Jordan Love should take every single snap. Until they put in like the 9th string offensive line and he just doesn't stand a chance of somebody blocking in front of him. Jordan Love needs every single one of those reps. I don't care about Kurt Benkert getting snaps. I don't care about Blake Bortles getting snaps. I don't care about whatever slapdick quarterback they bring in after that to get any snaps. That's just not a priority to me. Let Jordan Love play the entire game as far as I'm concerned. As far as expectations, from what I've read, from what I've heard, from what I've been told, there's some up and downs. Certainly the highs are very high. And that's kind of goes in line with Jordan Love's college film, right? The highs for Jordan Love are very, very high. The problem is the lows are also very, very low. So it's trying to find that middle ground to where there are fewer of those lows and a lot more of those highs. The talent level from Jordan Love is never the question. And I will be the first to admit, when he came out of that draft class, I was not a fan. I was not a fan of the pick when they made it. Not because they picked a quarterback, because I think, as you guys have probably gathered from anybody who's followed my work, I do not care about Aaron Rodgers' feelings. I don't care about any player's feelings when it comes to finding an eventual replacement. As my guy in the chat over here says, players come and go. That's kind of the case. So it's a game of replacement. You have to replace guys all the time. So I'm not worried about how somebody feels about somebody drafting a potential replacement for them. I just wasn't high on him as a prospect. And that's ultimately I think had they drafted, Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, if something like that would have happened, I would have been over the moon, because I have them ranked as A players, if you will, on my draft board that I created. Jordan Love I had as a C player in the first round. I wouldn't have taken him till at least day 2. Now, the highs, obviously the Packers are taking that bet on the ceiling. And the ceiling, there's not a bigger fan in the world of Jordan Love than Jake Morley. Maybe Jordan Love's mother than Jake Morley. And Morley tells me, if he hits, it's Pat Mahomes. And I mean, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
I would actually go a step further. I think Patrick Mahomes is flat out the most talented quarterback we've ever seen in NFL history.
That's certainly
I'll go that far.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. And if Jordan Love is able to be something close to that, I've said this before too, and I don't think I've said this on the air, but the Packers, they're drawn up perfect scenario, if you will. Rodgers comes back, Green Bay wins the Super Bowl. Add that title to the collection. Denver sucks. Green Bay trades him to Denver for a king's ransom, Jerry Jeudy, Bradley Chubb, Noah Fant, couple firsts, all that stuff. And Jordan Love's awesome. That is the perfect scenario, right? Now, is that going to happen? Probably not all of it, but that would be the perfect scenario. Something in there. Every good scenario of the Packers in this situation involves Jordan Love being good. And I said it when Gutekunst drafted him. It's Brian Gutekunst's legacy pick. And the likely scenario is that, Jordan Love plays at some point. Now, maybe this all gets smoothed over. I can't picture that necessarily, anything like that. So that's my thought on Jordan Love.
Fair enough. Good. Well said. Really good stuff there from Jacob Westendorf. I'm Alex Strouf, hanging out with you here on the Game On Wisconsin kickoff party. Kyle Hoffenbecker running the show for us on the sticks, as I like to say occasionally, for producer Kyle. Appreciate him hanging out with us. Appreciate each and every one of you hanging out with us here on the Game On Wisconsin kickoff party for season number 2. Alex Strouf alongside Jacob Westendorf, chatting a little quarterback scenarios. But regardless of how this goes, Jacob, we will get our chance to see Jordan Love in a jersey and under center, at least in the preseason, which I've got to be honest, I'm terribly looking forward to seeing him in live action. I don't expect him to be an absolute superstar in the preseason, but I expect him to, he's raw. He's a raw NFL talent. He's never played in a game, never even suited up for one. So it's going to be really fun to see what he's able to do come the preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big thing, right? That's the one thing where my goal with preseason is always just make it watchable, and sometimes when you're watching dudes like Joe Callahan and guys like that running around, it's not watchable, right? But Jordan Love, that's exciting. It's potential heir to the throne, so to speak, as far as the quarterback position is concerned. So I'm excited to watch him. There's 2 games that are live. The Jets game and the Buffalo Bills game is going to be live on NFL Network. So that was a nice thing to see for somebody who's out of market, not able to watch all the games without some, we'll call them legal streams. Let's just go with that. So we'll find that, and then, look forward to watching Jordan Love play. And honestly, that's the biggest thing. The rest of the stuff I look forward to seeing, some Amari Rodgers, some of the other guys on wide receivers and cornerbacks, Eric Stokes, Shamar Jean-Charles, stuff like that. But it's all eyes are on number 10 in the preseason, regardless of whether number 12 shows up or not.
No, you're absolutely correct. All eyes are on number 10 if number 12 is there or if number 12 is not there. Mark Deaton chimes in on the chat. I will give a not so popular take. I would rather have Blake Bortles under center with the team we have if Rodgers is not there. I understand where he's coming from by all means, right? An experienced quarterback, a guy that's played in an started in an AFC championship game, a guy that's, played numerous NFL games. However, I don't agree with it. I would rather see Jordan Love. I would rather see the guy that they spent all the marbles on. And if this is the case, they ruined a relationship with a first ballot Hall of Famer and debatably the most talented quarterback we've ever seen in NFL history. I know I just called Pat Mahomes that. Aaron Rodgers right there with that take. Here's Iowa Joe saying the legend that is Kurt Benkert is going to surprise everyone and become the week 1 starter. You heard it here first from Iowa Joe. Account. Yeah, that is Kyle's burner account. But we were talking a little bit off the air. I do think Kurt Benkert makes the roster, even if Rodgers is there. I think Blake Bortles is the cut. I think it is. I think it's Benkert, Love, and Rodgers, the 3 quarterbacks. But that's totally beside the point and a conversation for another day. But, Jesus, producer Kyle, with a Kurt season banner. Well, I don't even know. I lost my train of thought there. There you go, Jacob. Take over because producer Kyle ruined me.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew Mertens. We know what Bortles is. He's not good. Aaron was in here saying if Rodgers isn't under center, then let him show and tank for the draft pick. I'm with that as well. You need to know. And the other thing, Jake Morley said this a while back, is lost in the shuffle of the Packers took a first-round quarterback is the Packers took a first-round quarterback. This isn't some chud back there like Matt Flynn, with all due respect to the legend that is Matt Flynn. This guy
fellow number 10.
Exactly. Incredibly talented. The talent is there. When he throws the ball, there are guys. Quincy Avery was on Tyler Dunn's happy hour last night, and I asked him, like, what's the first thing that pops out? And he says, when he throws the ball, it's just different. You can see the difference in the zip on a throw. And with those cold games, you've got to cut through the wind, all that kind of stuff. Jordan Love has got to be the quarterback if Aaron Rodgers isn't there. Now, that being said, yeah, if the Packers are going to win a Super Bowl in 20, here's what's riding on the line, so to speak, in the next 10 days is if Rodgers says he's not coming, the Packers went from Super Bowl contender to maybe they can win that division with Jordan Love. Maybe.
Yeah.
But they're not winning a Super Bowl if Jordan Love is the quarterback. With all due respect, unless Air Jordan is Michael Jordan right from the jump, that's just not going to happen. So I think that's the case. Mark, I understand Jamarcus Russell was also a first-round pick, but he was incredibly talented. Just didn't work out that way. By all accounts, Jordan Love's work ethic is much better than Jamarcus Russell's.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Ever was. So the talent is there. It's just a matter of, again, finding that consistency. Matt LaFleur said it. He's a young quarterback. He's trying to kind of wade through things and find his way, and there will be growing pains. There were growing pains when Aaron Rodgers became the starter in 2008. Everybody kind of acts like Rodgers just jumped in 2008 and was an MVP-level player right away. He wasn't.
6 and 10 year, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. And he was good, but he wasn't great. And we've seen what great looks like. So we know what that is. And that's where Rodgers has had years in recent years. I know the Pat McAfee show quote where he said, down years for me are career years for some guys or something like that. And, to be honest with you, 2018, 2019, he was good at avoiding turnovers, but did he play a high level at the quarterback position? No. Was he an MVP level player? No, because you just saw what that looked like last year. I think that's fair to say that Jordan Love won't be that coming in the year. Now, can he manage some games and win games that way and make a few plays to beat some teams that the Packers are as good or better than? Yes. The question is, can they beat Tampa Bay, the Los Angeles Rams, those kinds of teams in the playoffs if Jordan Love is the quarterback? Probably not.
It will be fun to see how it all goes down. And I could sit here and do this for another 3 hours, Jacob, but we got to start wrapping. We really appreciate all of you jumping in with us. But before we did that, we got to get to the main event. And that is introduce your live stream lineup for the 2021 Packers season, starting with Mondays. On Mondays, it'll be the boys from last year. The Freezer podcast returns to the Game On Wisconsin network on Mondays. Jacob?
Yeah, those guys are a riot. You guys will definitely want to listen. Sanjay, Fred, and Matt, those guys do a really good job. Andrew Strasburg, obviously, is there as well as their producer. It's a lot of fun, a couple laughs, and some bets. I think last year Sanjay had to shave his head, and it had to happen after the wedding. And then he had to eat some spice. Sanjay probably shouldn't gamble, is what we learned off.
Oh, no. He should continue to gamble, actually. It's good content. Come on. Put that content hat on.
Absolutely. No, I dig it. It's a lot of fun. So that's our Monday lineup. Wednesdays, you're going to have the boys from Lombardi's Bar, Todd Varney, Jimmy Christensen, Dan Kotnick opening up that side of things, bringing in a bunch of guests, making bar bets. Dan Kotnick wears a bow tie. I believe the way he put it last year, which is my favorite, is finding new ways to make an ass of himself on a weekly basis, which I very much appreciate. Those guys are a lot of fun every week. I'm going to say that a lot. They're a lot of fun every week. But Lombardi's Bar, definitely want to tune in for those kinds of things. The spicy chip, yeah, that's what that was. That was one of the funnier things I've ever seen as well. So maybe we could talk Sanjay into doing that at the Game On party before the.
we probably should, right? I mean, we're all about content around here, so maybe we should talk Sanjay into that. But maybe we can get our folks that'll be starring on Thursdays to talk Sanjay into doing something, or they could talk Zach Jacobson into doing something silly. Whatever. Thursdays open book with Eli Berkovitz, Jack Jacobson, and Janelle Mackey. Stays with the network. They've been pumping out content all off season long, and they've got even more good stuff. A lot of stuff in the works for them on Thursdays, just before your Thursday night football kickoff. Like again, with Eli Berkovitz, Zach Jacobson, Jen Mack.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Obviously, they did a lot of stuff for us. They came in a little bit after we started last year, but they did a lot of good stuff. They've had Tremont Williams on their show. Leroy Butler was on their show. They'll do some film review coming into the week here, the next before going into Sunday's game, obviously being on a Thursday night. So you'll get that'll be your first real deep dive preview into who the Packers are playing on that Sunday. So that'll be a lot of fun. Definitely don't want to miss that.
Definitely don't want to miss that. And you know how you can never miss any Game On Wisconsin content is by subscribing to the Game On Wisconsin podcast feed. Hit it up on Apple Podcasts, rather, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Game On Wisconsin, full word Wisconsin. Search Game On Wisconsin in your podcast feed. Subscribe. Jacob just announced a new project today. I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, it's called the Pick Six Podcast. It's sponsored by Jay Cutler, so I'm really excited about that. It's fitting considering
Nicely done.
I was prone to that a couple times. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's going to be 6 topics every week. There will be myself and obviously some guests coming through on that. We're starting this week. My first recording is tomorrow night with Joe Arrigo of Franchise Sports Las Vegas, kind of the helper, if you will, behind the scenes. You guys will learn about the inception of this network, how everything kind of got started, and among some other stuff that we'll talk about. Probably talk about the quarterback once or twice as well through that. And the other podcasts, obviously, as well. Quick Slants will be Mondays and Thursdays this year. And then we have On Brand, Off Topic, Todd Varney, Jimmy Christensen, and Aaron Alice talking shit. That's really the best way I can describe that podcast. And then I will be on Wednesday nights as well. And then I had somebody asking who my second guest is. I guess I'll leave that to the imagination.
Can't wait to be your second guest. So the Pick Six, I'm a nerd for sports media. Can't wait to hear your episode with Joe in the inception of the network. I know a lot. I don't know all of it. So really looking forward to the debut of the Pick Six on the Game On Wisconsin podcast feed. Now, for all of you wondering what's going to happen on Tuesdays, what's going to happen on weekends, there's a lot of discussions going on behind the scene. We're not ready to pull back the curtain on that, but as we lead up to preseason games and the regular season, more announcements to come on some shows that we had last year. Obviously, the Jamal Williams show, not going to be happening this year as he is now a rival, which is still weird to get used to. Him and Tim Boyle, both with the Detroit Lions now. So as much as we love both of those guys, no shows with them, but discussions happening and ongoing. A lot of content coming your way this Packers football season. Can't wait to dive into it. And I know Jacob's even more excited than I am. So really excited and looking forward to Packers season. Jacob, good stuff tonight, buddy. Good to catch up with you a little bit.
Yeah, good chatting. And then again, I appreciate you guys that were stopping by. We had a pretty active chat group over here. So stop by all the shows, everything you guys have. We put stuff out, early and often so we can find you guys. And I really hope to see you all September the 19th. I've said it a million times on this platform before. The audience decides who stays and who goes. You guys are the ones who have allowed us to stay over a year. And let me be the first to wish Game On Wisconsin. Tomorrow is our first birthday. We debuted 1 year ago tomorrow. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Yes, I'm going to do the whole song. Happy birthday to you.
They cut him off. I can't believe that actually happened. So
happy birthday.
I don't even know. They're just going to let him come back and you're going to have him sing again. So that's cool. Thanks everybody for stopping by. That was fun. Alex, go ahead and take us home.
Yeah, it was a blast for Kyle Hoffenbecker, producer Kyle, for Jacob Westendorf, and for all of you, the Game On Wisconsin family. Thanks so much for interacting and chatting with us. We're going to do a little post-game to the pregame with Matt Ramage over on his social channels. So be sure to jump in that. We'll probably start about 8:30, 8:45. So go grab a drink, hit the bathroom, do what you got to do. We're going to go hang out with Matt Ramage for a little bit. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Look forward to a great season number 2 across the Game On Wisconsin network. Thanks so much for hanging with us. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace.